So from recent highs, Salesforce ticker symbol CRM is currently down over 34%. And despite yesterday's earnings beat, the stock is currently down over 5% after issuing weak guidance. Today after markets close, we have Broadcom and Lululemon that will be reporting their Q2 earnings. And based on my analysis, we have AVGO Broadcom, which is currently overvalued in my book. Then we have Lululemon, which is quite undervalued. So with that said, for Broadcom, I'm looking for downside targeting 255, which would be a 16% pullback from its current price. And for Lululemon, I'm looking for a 42% increase to 288 and then a 81% increase to 368. Now, after yesterday's antitrust ruling, Dan Ives is raising his price target for Alphabet. Take a listen.
We're now turning to the other big story today, a mega move for mega cap Google after its big antitrust win. Dan Ives is global head of technology research with Wedbush. He joins us now. It's good to see you. Quite obviously, given this ruling, is it the outcome that you expected?
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about it. I think this DOJ was always the bark was going to be worse than the bite. I think it's the dream scenario for Google. It's a dream scenario for Apple.
Now, based on this news, Bank of America has given Apple a price target of 260.
Because now they really get unleashed from an M&A perspective as well as ultimately with AI. And you look at that search deal, I mean, this is now, I believe, going to be really the next stage of growth for Google as well as Apple.
I mean, were you fearing the worst outcome possible here? Where did that sort of percolate, inside of your thoughts as you were waiting, like many investors were, for a decision?
Yeah, Scott, I'd say the last year, we've talked to so many investors hand-holding through this, and we continued to believe that ultimately this is probably going to be the scenario. We didn't see a breakup. We didn't see Chrome selling up. We didn't see anything from an Apple perspective that was going to ruin that relationship from a $20 billion in terms of search. But I think it speaks to the point. Look, the Beltway versus big tech, it's going to continue to be a battle. It doesn't end here. But for Google, it's a champagne moment because now they're going to be unleashed, especially when it comes to AI. That goes from a headwind now to a tailwind.
Well, investors are popping the corks to play that forward, obviously, today, given the biggest move in the stock since April. Do you think for the stock it closes the valuation gap here forward? Because it does trade at a reasonable discount to its mega cap peers.
Yeah, I mean, look, we raised price target 245, but ultimately, and me and my colleague Scott Devitt have talked about it. I mean, this could be a $300 stock because now you're going to start to see the multiple expand. You take now the DOJ overhang, the antitrust. I now think Apple and Google, potentially could start to walk down the aisle in terms of a bigger Gemini partnership from an AI perspective. And look, and I think this is one. It was a hated name, and I get all the, in terms of the risk. But now I think many are sort of underweight or enough. And I think this is a stock that could have a 3 in front of it as we go into the next 6 months.
I mean, a hated name is a bit of an overstatement, probably, given, if you look at the chart, what was concern around the name has become, I think, relief. I mean, the stock had rallied a good amount coming into this, so let's not act like it was universally hated. I'm talking about Alphabet, of course. Before we break out the caviar also to go with the champagne that you're ready to pop, this does not really address the bigger picture issue for Alphabet, does it, in terms of the threat of losing its absolute dominance as it relates to search because of AI?
Look, we talked about it last quarter. I mean, if you look at search and you look at all the data, look, I'm not saying there's not a headwind there, but I actually believe they're going to ultimately turn this into just really what's going to be a massive transformation opportunity. Search, if you look at it, it's going to continue to see strength like we saw the last few quarters. It's holding up Rock of Gibraltar. I'm not going to say that down the road you're not going to have some maybe softness, but ultimately now you start to focus on Gemini, the AI piece. That ultimately is really going to, I think, be a significant catalyst to the name.
Next, let's take a look at the NASDAQ QQQs and the S&P 500. So currently the NASDAQ is up over 0.70% and the S&P 500 is up over 0.63%. And with that said, I am still overall bearish on the market. But if we do break to new highs on the NASDAQ, I want you guys to look for a run to 598. And for the S&P 500, look for a run to 652 and possibly to 665. Now going Going into the rest of the video, I have some important levels for you guys to watch on Lululemon and ticker symbol CRM, Salesforce. Let's go ahead and start with Lululemon. So current support for the stock is going to be at 175. If that level breaks, look for a 9% pullback to 162. And if 162 failed to hold as support, then look for a further pullback to 150. And from current price, we're looking at a decline of 16%. To the upside, if Lululemon can stay above 175, then look for a 6% run back to 191. And if buyers can push the stock above 191 and use this level as support, then look for a run to 206. And from current price, we're looking at a return of over 14%. Overall, to the upside, my first price target for Lululemon is going to be at 288. And my second price target is going to be at 368. So in total, we're looking at a return of over 105%. Let's now take a look at Salesforce, ticker symbol CRM. Now, current support for Salesforce is going to be at 235. If the stock cannot stay above this level, then look for a 6% pullback to 228. And if that level breaks, then look for a further pullback to 221. And from current price, we're looking at a decline of 9%. Now, to the upside, if Salesforce can break above current resistance at 247, then look for a 5% run to 256. And if buyers can break above 256 and use that level as support, then look for a run to 267. And from current price, we're looking at a return of over 9%. With that said, based on the technicals, my price target for Salesforce is going to be at 324. And from current price, we're looking at a return of over 33%. Alright guys, if you liked today's video, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get this video out to more viewers. Also, if you're currently watching and you're not yet subscribed, do consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.